Hi, so I'm Sarirah, founder of Pretty Analytics. So honestly, Pretty Analytics kind of started out as dissertation that I was doing at university. So my background's in computer science, and for my master's dissertation, I decided that I wanted to look at how you could analyze natural language, which is things like blog posts, written articles, and how people actually write, and turn that into numbers. Because at the time it was about 2012, and that was sort of the beginning of the beauty blog scene, and that was becoming quite popular. And I thought, you know what, in maybe 5 to 10 years there's going to be a lot of this, and this could actually provide a lot of valuable data, but how is anyone going to access it? It's just, it's on the internet and it's just out there. So I decided to come up with an algorithm that could capture that information, analyze the language and categorize it. So it looks at things like which brands people were talking about, or what types of products they were talking about, and the types of language and imagery they were using. So for example, if they're talking about, we really want to use serums for like glowing skin, or how to change the texture and things like that. And whilst I was collating all of that information and creating graphs out of it, I started to notice there were patterns. So in certain years, skincare would be the most popular, or specifically face mists or serums in skincare would be the most popular, when I decided to go and work on building that algorithm into something specifically tailored for looking at beauty trends. That's just like a little story about how it got there.
No, I think that's amazing. And, so all of our students are founders themselves, and I think themselves, and it's just a phenomenal story of how you noticed that gap. But your industry knowledge is very wide, because you've obviously worked in retail for quite a long time, and you see how, from another perspective in terms of being a brand, how that can be so helpful.
So something that I talk a lot about in Pretty Analytics reports is this concept of white space. And it's the idea of, you've got maybe 2 prevalent trends or ideas, and you say, how, in theory, could you connect these 2 together? What would be the thing in the middle that's connecting them? And if you can come up with something that fits in that space, that's your white space, because no one's done something in that area yet. Or there's relatively few people that might have done something in that area. And that's quite a valuable thing to know. Even if you don't act on it right away, it's still good to have that in mind for the future of your brand. Data on its own, you can't do anything with. Like, I could hand you a set of raw information about all these statistics about ingredients, but how is that going to help you make actionable steps towards building your brand? So the 2 ways that I would say Pretty Analytics is then 20% about the data and 80% creative analysis is that we're visualizing this information, as I was talking about before, but also, and this is my favorite, is the trend maps. So all of the different ideas that we come up with, whether they're patterns that we've noticed looking at, the last year or the last quarter of time in terms of data points, we'll put that idea in a bubble on a map. And then we put them all on, and then look at which ones immediately connect together. So for example, the trends of the nature connection connects to botanical skincare, which connects to well-crafted formulations. And then you'd have things like zero waste connects plastic free, that maybe connects to certain types of packaging, like using sugar or cornstarch in building a product, which then could connect to maybe organic feminine care. So you're kind of like really zoning in, and in each area you can, depending on what your brand is about, you can really find that granularity.